So a question we often ask in crypto is, what year is it in internet terms? Okay, so I know, Jeremy, this is not your first like company that you're building. You're not your first startup. You saw the birth of the internet. You built protocols on the TCP/IP internet protocol, and now you're building Circle and kind of like crypto native protocols. It's interesting because crypto just hit 15 years old, and Bitcoin started in 2009, as many people know. The internet's birthday, if you go Google this, the internet, like Google says, the internet's birthday was in 1983. And 15 years after the birth of the internet was 1998. Okay, so if you like project that forward, are we in the late 1990s in terms of like blockchain? I was curious because I know you have a take on this. You've been through the early internet cycles, and now you're here for the internet of value cycle. What year is that? Are we in the early 90s, in the late 90s? Is this post.com bubble? I mean, certainly 2022 felt to a lot of people like it was a bubble and then a pop.
Yeah. So I think about this a lot, and I think it's very different than the evolution we saw from like basically these unconnected networks in the 80s and connecting those into sort of the birth of the HTTP protocol, which then kind of gave rise to the web, and SMTP protocol, which gave rise to email, which were really in 1998 like the killer apps. They were still pretty difficult to use, and it was all dial-up modems. It was a pretty awful infrastructure, but you could build things like, we built an app server. You could build apps in a browser, and that was like a really powerful thing. And people were on this decentralized infrastructure, setting up these nodes, and just like everyone was publishing. So you had a sense for like, wow, this is amazing. I think we're further than that though, in crypto. And I actually think where we are is very similar to where we were in like 2003.
Really?
And so my view is so you have like multiple convergent things happening at once. And back in 2003, you had basically like client software on the internet got much better. Like you could build good user interfaces in browsers and the like the standards got better for UX. You had broadband basically taking off. So you didn't have broadband really until 2002. And so then you had residential broadband really starting to take off, which created the ability to have these faster pipes. And so not everyone had the faster pipes, but the faster pipes are there. Wi-Fi came out. Like Wi-Fi didn't exist before then, or it was like super niche. And then people started to be able to connect devices that could connect to the broadband. And then you could then teleport like the digital media or the software in different ways. So you had Wi-Fi, you had broadband, you had better client user experiences. And you actually had billions of dollars of capex that had been laid out by companies who had basically invested billions into the dot-com boom. And that capex became available and became more commoditized as well. And so the ability to like deploy servers, server farms, or to build what we now know as cloud, like the commoditization was happening there. So you had all these things kind of coming together, and it really made the consumer internet possible. It made e-commerce really work much more broadly. And it made basically software as a service happen, like that basically starting in like 2003, 2004, SaaS just completely took off. And so you had what was interesting about it is from that point forward, it was basically a nonstop period of progress. There was the public markets did different things, but basically like the progress basically was just never stopped. And I think we're still there. Like the progress never stopped. So if I think about blockchain networks, like where we are today, there's a similar kind of convergence that's happening. You basically have like the layering of blockchain networks, which is creating these like really, really powerful scalability models where you can go very app specific and you can have deep underlying assurances of security. You're seeing the advent of an application of zero knowledge technology, which, is a critical precondition to people feeling comfortable with their privacy and their data and their identity and other things on these networks. You're seeing UX abstraction finally arriving. So basically all of the really hard parts of crypto, which is like, I need to go buy a crypto token, move it to a third-party wallet that I have to set up with like a seed phrase. I have to sign these transactions. I have no idea what I'm doing. Why do I need this gas token? And it costs like $7. to do this thing to get that NFT. It was just awful. And so during that 21, 22, it was like the reality is like the UX was awful. And so now we have infrastructure and UX abstractions, gas abstractions. Like we run a gas station, any developer can build with it. And you can basically take away gas for users. It's just like really, really cool. And you're seeing, modular smart contract accounts that are basically creating pluggable, extensible kind of UX models for wallet experiences that then devs can build all kinds of modules and wallet creators can adapt those. And the UX layers, basically like we're seeing that with, a number of wallets that are out there right now. And so the combination of like scalable infrastructure, better UX, and then finally, while this doesn't necessarily feel like it's happening, legal clarity is actually happening in most parts of the world. So almost everywhere in the world, there's legal clarity. And when you have legal clarity, then like households and firms and financial institutions are like, oh, okay, I know what this is. I know how to account for it on my books. I know how to interact with it. And it's like, I now have like a trustworthy infrastructure. And so all these things are coming together. And the technology progress in these infrastructure layers is speeding up, not slowing down. So I think this is 2003. I think we're going to see like wonderful, beautiful apps that get consumer scale over the next 12 to 24 months. We will easily reach 1 billion users that can transact in something like USDC, but also with other things. I really think we're in a very different place. And now it's like sufficient that developers can build all kinds of other applications. Obviously, like Farcaster is a wonderful example of like, wow, you can build beautiful apps that have protocols, that have digital tokens, that have extensibility and other things. So I'm very bullish about where we are, and I don't really care about exactly what prices are and all that, but like I really think technologically we're in a really excellent place.
You don't care about
right
prices,
now.
Jeremy, because you run a stable coin, man.
Yeah. That's a cop out.
Yeah, I'm not pumping any token.
That's right.
To continue leveling up your crypto game, then you need to get on the Bankless newsletter. It's the world's most popular crypto email and is completely free. Just click below to sign up.